So when it comes to prototype is considered as a what we can say very tricky and very difficult to answer question, because even if you understand it, what you will be explaining to the interviewer and what answer he knows might be different. Because if you just Google the prototype in every different website, you will find something different. So it's very hard to what we can say. We don't have any proper definition, just like we had with closure or hosting or any basic understanding. You will get it clear from prototype. If you access the multiple website, basic understanding will be the same. But there is no proper definition by which you can clearly explain, like, yeah, this is the prototype or this is the definition of prototype. So don't get confused. Like whatever you understand, you can just explain that. If the interviewer is having proper knowledge, he will understand. If the way you will be explaining, he will understand that. But you should be clear about what you mean by the prototype, right? So prototype as in whenever we create any variable, let's say function, if we create a variable which is storing string value, number value, object, array, right? Otherwise, you are creating a new class also. Like in JavaScript, we can create a class also, like, right? So whenever you create something in JavaScript, first of all, like everything in JavaScript is called an object. Ultimately, it is an object. So that's what the prototypes comes in. So when we create an object, right, it's not just object what the normal object which we know. Everything in JavaScript, whether you are creating a variable which is storing string, number, boolean, date. If we see the prototype means kind of a parent of all the data type, we will get the object only. So that's why whenever we see prototype, so prototype will mainly deal with the object. Okay. Now, just to understand, let's go to now. If I create a variable, let's say first name is equal to Chetan. Okay. So I have created a string variable which is storing a data type of string. So here you can see it has added the data type string. Now, if we say first name dot, so here you can see we are getting some methods. One property is there which is length. Some methods are there which we know, like these methods will work only on the string type of data. See, trim, lowercase, uppercase, string, substring, str. So many methods are there. Slice, split, correct? So these methods or these functions are like the functions which will only work on the string. Okay. Now just remember this picture. Now if I create a variable which is having date, current date is equal to new. I'm just storing a current date because that's only it will get the data type. So this variable has got the data type as date. Now, if we try current date dot, so see what we used to get it over here in case of string, it was starting with caret, char method which were only going to work with the string. Right? Now in current date, you are getting some different methods. Got it? Just like that, if we create, let's say, city list, we will store array of string. Okay. Now if we try city list dot, so you are seeing some different methods now. Correct. In case of array, we will have just only one property that will be length. Remaining will be functions only. So see, these are the functions which will only execute on the if we are using the dot operator on the array itself. Correct. So how and why like based on the data type, which I mean what we can say compiler or JavaScript engine, how it is attaching these functions to this particular variable, right? In case of string, we get different number of functions. In case of date, we get different number of functions. In case of array, we get different number of functions or properties. So whatever, when you create a variable, based on the data type, JavaScript engine attach some method and the properties to your variable. Simple definition. When you create any variable, doesn't matter what you stored inside that. Based on the data type, JavaScript engine will attach some methods and the properties to that variable, which we access by using dot operator. So everyone know like after dot, we get certain number of fields, correct? But how does it work, right? So JavaScript engine attach those functions and the properties based on the data you are storing into that variable. Understood now? But how it is actually understanding, like for in case of string, these are the methods we have to add. In case of date, these are the methods we have to add. So see, now here comes the prototype. So when we say prototype, just understand the inheritance. Those who knows under inheritance, they will, those who comes from the, let's say, .NET background, or those who remember C sharp or C++ or C. So there we used to have inheritance, right? So inheritance as in inheriting properties from where it is derived. So let's say we as the children inherit like whatever the properties or wealth we have from our parents, right? Just like that. So now this date is coming from the date prototype. So whatever this variable will inherit the properties of a prototype date. So whatever the means date constructor. See here only it is showing date constructor. So every object will have a constructor method. So there are certain number of method based on the data type, which is already defined by ECMA standards whenever ECMA standard version started. So they are the one maintaining all these functions and the method. Correct. So proto JavaScript engine will check the prototype of this variable, means what type of data it is holding and what are the methods or the properties we have in the constructor of that particular data type. That methods and properties will get attached to this variable. So this is the background. Okay. So whenever someone asks you like what is prototype, so prototype is nothing but an what do we say? As I said, like there is no proper sentence or something. So by using prototype, whenever we create a variable or a function, whenever we create a variable based on the data type, some methods or the some properties get attached to that variable. But it is like that variable is inheriting properties from its prototype. Prototype, as in you can consider it's a parent data type. Okay, parent or data type you can relate. So what type of data you are storing into that variable, that data type, whatever the functions and the properties are mentioned for that data type, those will be attached to your variable. So this is very pure definition of prototype. Okay. So just like that. So this is just a, if you want to remember something definition I have created. So it is just an object, okay, which is attached by JavaScript engine to array, object, variable or function, whatever we create in JavaScript. We can access many properties and function available in object by using the dot operator. Why it is object? Because everything in JavaScript what we create, doesn't matter you are creating string, number, boolean, date type, the prototype of those object ultimately will be what do we say, object only. We will see that like why it is said like everything in JavaScript is object. Okay. So it will inherit all the properties or the functions which is mentioned over there for the particular data type. Okay. In another sentence, like very simplest, you can say, let's say if we are when we create a variable, some methods and some methods or function or some properties will get attached to that variable based on the data type, which we access by using dot operator. So whatever is happening behind the scene, like methods and the functions are getting attached to that variable by checking the data type, that is nothing but prototype. Okay. So as I said in the earlier, there is no proper definition, but it just, you have to understand the concept, like what is prototype and not. Okay, so till now, this is just a basic. So still anyone has any doubt, then we can move ahead with example. Then it will be more clear what is prototype and why I was saying like the inheritance. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now, once we see the example, then it will be clear. So now let's create a, so we will start with very basic. So I'm creating an object, let's say student obj is equal to Let's say I'm storing name. Let's say AAA, city, Pune. Inside that, I'm creating a function. In this object, I'm creating a property print name, and inside that, I'm storing a function. Function, round bracket, curly bracket, enter. And in this function, I will be printing the name, console.log. Name is, after that plus this dot name. I'm accessing this name by using this operator. So this will point to this particular object. Okay. Now if we try student object dot print name, print name is a function. So obviously we have to invoke it. Let's save. Let me open the console. So here you can see we have got the A. Okay. Now let's say I am creating another object where I'm going to store the employee detail. Okay. Now inside employee detail also again I will have name, employee name. Let's say Aditya, city, Mumbai. Again some properties. Let's say EMP ID, designation, senior engineer. Okay. So now I have a student object. Inside that, I have a function which is responsible to get to print the name. Okay, just a basic example we are taking. But in an actual project, there will be so many scenarios by which we use this prototyping and prototypal inheritance. By using this concept, we carry out so many functions very easily. Okay, but just a example we are starting. So this might be very small, like why do we need like this? But if consider like this function has very only one line of code, but it can be certain, let's say 20 to 30 lines of code. Okay, then it will be useful. So try to understand. So we have created an object, student object. Inside that, we have created a property. We have created a function print name. So we in student object, we are if we have to print the name of the student, so we can do like this. It will print the name whatever we have in this particular object. Now same thing in employee object also we need to print the name. Now here also we have the name property. Here also we have the name property. So now again, we have to create an object. Let's say print emp name. And here we will store a function which will print the name. So console.log. Let's just copy paste same. Okay. Now this I will employee name dot print emp name semicolon. So here you can see same output we got. But this is kind of a repetitive. So we have a similar declare a function, whatever we have created, whatever the logic we have written in this function. Similar logic is already present over here. Okay. Now here comes the prototype. Now instead of creating function again over here, now it comes the prototype inheritance. Okay. Now student object, it has a prototype. Prototype means what are the methods or what are the functions this particular object has. That is nothing but prototype of the student object. Okay. So now I'm going to assign prototype of student object to prototype of employee details. It simply means I'm trying to inherit the properties and the methods which are already declared in the student object into employee details. So I don't have to create print name function again. I can make use of this print name function with this object also. So how do we do that? So employee details, we need to assign the prototype of student object to employee details. So employee details dot. Now, how do we change the prototype? So here comes the proto word, underscore, underscore, proto, again, underscore, underscore. This is how we change the prototype of particular variable. Now, what we need to assign? This. So now this line is like to employee object, we are assigning the prototype of student object. So now in employee object, we can access this function as well, print name. Now I don't have to create another function in the employee object to print the name. I can make use of function which is declared already in the student object. Okay, so now here you can see still it is printing the same output. So employee detail dot print name, what it is going over there, this function is executing. But now this, because we have used the this context, so this context will refer the current object. So we have assigned the prototype, means whatever the properties and the functions were present in that first student object, we have assigned those properties and the function to this employee object also. So I can make use of print name with employee details also. So if you don't know this code, let's say if you have something like this, so you won't understand how in this object I don't have a method, but still how it is printing. Na? So employee details has the properties of student object also. So this is like inheriting whatever the property, just like in when we create a variable with the variable, and if we store the array, what are the properties we already defined in the array that get assigned to that variable. So whatever the definition I explained earlier, this is the actual, what do we say, understanding of that. So we are trying to inherit the properties of this student object, but in when we create a normal variable, it is like inheriting the properties of that data type, whatever the properties we already have created in case of that data type. So that we will get access. I know like this is little bit confusing or might be new. Those who are seeing prototype for the first time, this is not the thing like it's not like prototype is the hardest one. It's not like if you see some video and if you listen to someone also, you will get it. Unless you try it, you won't get it. This is like magic. We don't have print name function over here, but still we are able to print the name, correct? So because we have inherited whatever there was in the student object. Okay, you can unmute now. Anyone has any question now? Yeah, Venki.
Yeah, so actually, by using the proto, as you told,
Hmm.
like we are getting the properties of whatever we are doing, assigning that one, right?
Yeah,
Now we are employed details, we are assigning student object.
yeah.
But my question is like we are getting properties of all the student, right? Then
Yes.
which name in this like employee
Name
details?
will consider from this object. Now we are using this, right? So we are trying to access the name property by using this. So this
That
will
is
refer to the object you are using.
that
This.
is fine. But
Hmm.
name property of name separated, say, separate cities there.
Yeah. So if you try to access this function in case of this object, it will consider this. Okay. And if you try to get that print name with this object, so it will consider this. Now just see. Now I'm removing this city from over here. Okay. Here after name, I will print city also. This name plus city is plus this dot city. Okay. Now in my student object, I don't have city. Correct. Now if we try to
Yeah,
print this,
in between.
sorry. So it will say A is there, then city is undefined, right? Because in this object, we don't have city. Correct. But
Yes,
same
yes,
thing here, you can see name is Aditya and city is Mumbai is printing. Getting it now?
yes, yes.
Okay. So we are using this now. So this will check the object from which object you are trying. If it has that property, it will print it, otherwise in undefined. Got it? So
Sir, I have one
Yeah,
question.
got it. Sir, one
yeah.
more small question. Like in real time, like generally where we are using this, like
See,
in my
again,
project,
I
I
told you,
never
right?
seen this.
Yes, obviously in the normal project, you won't be able to see. If you are working on Angular or React now, you won't be able to see. You will
Yeah, yeah.
only find this kind of code where only normal HTML is there and every code is written with JavaScript. So in the starting of the session, I told you, right? There are separate developer who only works with JavaScript. And the projects are also like that. Okay. So there so many scenarios are like there where you are going to create classes and the functions like that, which are going to be reusable. Okay.
Sir, can you? I have one question. Like,
Yeah.
can you go
Yeah.
to line number 28 and After employee details dot,
Hmm.
can you remove dot underscore proto?
Then
Can you type prototype
prototype
dot
means
dot prototype?
you want to remove the dot prototype, no?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you
Instead
want
of
to see the
proto, he asking prototype.
Prototype. Yeah, yeah.
Instead of
prototype
proto,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
it is a new feature, I guess.
like this.
Yes, yes.
No, no. Prototype is nothing there, something, no?
It's there, I think.
It's
Let
there.
me check. Prototype.
What we will get?
Correct spelling, no? Prototype. So print name is not this. So that's what I said. A prototype is nothing is there like prototype. Prototype is just a word for theoretical. There is no keyword prototype. Okay.
I think I've seen.
No, see now. We have assigned. If you consider like instead of pro underscore underscore proto, you can write the proto. But
I'm
here
also
see,
seeing that.
here it is getting error. Like print name is not defined, is not a function.
Yeah.
I have not seen yet, but if it is there, you can forward it to me. We can also check. But as far as I know, I haven't also seen anything like this. Normally, we can assign the prototype by using proto. If we have to check the prototype any variable, we use underscore underscore proto only, na?
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Raman, that is for like some, we are creating some our own custom methods.
Yeah,
like
custom methods, it might be there. But
in
by
that
default, it
time we
is
are
not there.
using prototype.
Yeah. Okay, that you are telling. No, that is something else. Yeah, we will come to that.
Yes.
I got it,
Hello.
got it.
I have one question, sir.
Yeah.
So we can get the same thing with the call method itself. So why we are going to use prototype? We can achieve the same result with the
Call
help of call.
method. I also forgot call apply bind, na?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, same thing we can do with call apply bind also, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
But see, it's not like accessing the method only. It's the whatever we are trying to do, it's not like just we are accessing the method. It's like having all the properties and see again, like if you have a project, let's consider you have a object where so many functions and so many methods are there. This is just a simple example. We are trying to print the name. But let's say you have so many you have so many, you are trying to filter the array or you are trying to generate some unique name. And some properties you are going to use from this parent. Let's say you are trying to create a unique token number. Okay. Now some properties you are going to use from parent object and some properties you are going to use from over here. Now, can we do something like that in case of call?
Yes, sir. We can if we are using these keywords, so it's just the bound that in particular object. So we can use same. We can achieve the same result with the help of code. Then what is need of prototype? Like prototype is
See,
just like to
prototype
inherit
as
with the
in
prototype.
inherit. We are
Yeah.
inheriting whatever the properties and the functions were there over here.
Yes,
We
sir.
are passing it to student that new object. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Proto is also the like the instance of we are instantiating the object, the same kind of thing.
Yeah, you can consider like that. But inheritance is the more right word
Okay.
because we are inheriting whatever the functions we have over here. So we can make use of this. Correct. Okay. Instance is like when we create the object instance, but here we are not creating an object or something, right? So that will be, if you are understanding by that, you can consider like that. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is the first example. Okay. Now coming back to second, we say everything in JavaScript is object. Now, why do we say like that? So let's start with that. And let's say if someone asks you like, tell me the prototype of this particular variable. Okay. Now let's create var first name. Okay. I'm storing Chetan over here. Now I need to understand the prototype of this variable. So console.log, what I will do, variable dot underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. Let's see. So prototype of first name is what we have got string. Okay. Now, again, I'm checking the prototype of string also. So means after this proto, again, I will use underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. So see what we have got over here. We got constructor means it is nothing but an object. Okay. So prototype of first name was string. Again, prototype of string, what is it? Object. Okay. So if we create a variable with string, the prototype, ultimate prototype of this variable is nothing but an object. Now, if we create roll number, let's try the same. Roll number, roll number. So here you can see line number 38, it has printed number because the immediate parent or immediate inherit from where it is inherited, it is nothing but number. But prototype of number is also object only. Just like that, it will happen with date, boolean, array, everything. So that's why we call it everything in JavaScript. Whatever we create in JavaScript is nothing but object. This is very, what do we say, common sentence. When it comes to prototype, someone will ask you like why it is said like everything in JavaScript is nothing but an object. So this is the definition. So if we try to go in the upper direction, prototype of prototype, so ultimately we are going to get the object only. Clear, everyone? Okay. Now coming back to another scenario just like this. So here what we have created object. We have created some methods into object, and that method, whatever the methods we have created in a student object, we have assigned that to the employee. Now same thing we can do in case of function also, right? So let's start. Let's say I'm creating a function. Let's name it as an employee. And here I will have a parameter name. Okay. And here what I will do, this dot name is equal to whatever the name. Let's change it emp name or param. Whatever the name I'm going to get, I'm assigning it to this. Okay. Now the first question which Shikhar or someone asked me. So this is a function. Okay. But in this function, we are trying to create a variable with name, and we are it won't work. I think the name should be same. Let's try to keep the same first, then we will try to change. Okay. Now we have created a function. Now this function I have to use it as a constructor. Okay. And whatever the value I pass to this function as a parameter, that will be a new object will be created just like that. Okay. Now we have created a function. Now what I need to do in this function, I need to push my certain property. So when we create a string or when we create an array, there are certain number of properties which is already there, correct? But this is a function. Okay. Now in this function, what I need to do, I need to append one of my own function. Okay. So how do we do that? It will come the word. So employee dot prototype. So here it will come. Okay. So when we have to check the prototype, that is underscore underscore proto. But if we are creating new function of our own, so we have to make use of the prototype. Okay. Then let's say print name. Okay. And here what we are going to do, normal function around bracket. So here we will say console.log. Let's say my name, or let's just say name is this dot name. Okay. So what we have did over here in this function, in this functions prototype, we have created we have passed another method, our custom method, that is print name. Okay. Now by using constructor, we are going to create multiple object of the this particular function. Okay. So see, so let emp1 is equal to, what we will do, we will initiate new object, the method name, that is employee, and this object has this function as a parameter name, so we have to pass it. Let's say Aditya. Okay. Now here you can see in emp1 dot. So here you can see we are able to see the method name. Okay. So this function has a parameter. In this variable, in this function, we have instantiated this object, and in this context, we have stored the name also, right? But what we can say in the prototype of this function, we have created one more method on this line. So that's why you are able to see over here print name. Okay. So if we say print name, let me just comment remaining. So here you can see name Aditya is coming. Let's try to create another object. Let student is equal to new employee, and we will pass Pankaj over here, and student dot print name. If we print, we will get Pankaj. So whatever we have did over here, this was in case of the object. Same like that, we can create it with the function also. Okay. So these are the two examples you should, and at least a photographic memory you should have of this. I know it's very, those who are looking everything for the first time, it is very hard to process. Okay. But those who already know, or those who have already more than 2+ experience now, so you should have these two example ready. Either you can practice it so that you will have on hands-on, because this is not something we do on a daily basis. So that's why at least have an image available in your mind. Like these are the way how we can create. Okay. Now a little bit hard one. So how you those who are having more than, let's say, 3 or 4 years of experience, they will face a question in, let's say, second round. Okay, let's say in first round normal evaluation is done. In the second round, let's say a take lead or some manager is going to ask you question. In first round, let's say what is question is over. Then it will comes to more scenario based or some proper or in a deep manner question will be there. Okay. So the question will be like that. I want to create a function, or I want to create my own method which will work on a particular data type. Let me repeat it again. I want to create a function or a method which will work on a particular data type. It is, let's say, let me tell you the example, then you will understand. So where, let's say I'm storing para, some text variable is there. This is general text. Okay. Now see, we have stored a string type of variable. Now string dot. So does anyone remember, like, do we have a method in string? Okay, we already have a method which is include. So include is like, let's see what we can pass. Let me just try to pass s, or just forget about include, like include is there or not. But what we are trying to do is we want to create a function, okay, for string data type, which will find whatever the parameter we pass is present there or not. Okay. If just forget about include is also does the same work, but I wanted to take a normal scenario. I can go with array also, but it will be complicated to understand. So that's why I'm going with string only. So what I want to do, I want to create my own method. So see, caret, concat, ends with, include, index of. These are the methods which are already there in case of string data type. Just like this, I want to create my own method, which should come over here. Now you're getting it. I want to create my own method which will work on all the variable which is storing string type of data. Okay. So how do we do that? So here comes the prototypal inheritance. Okay. Now, so we have to create our own method. So just like what we have did over here now, by using prototype, we have to do like that. Let me just a minute. So in this function, where it was, so here, this was a function which we have created. In this function, we have added one more function of our own. Okay, just remember this. Just like this, now we have to create a function which will work on string type of data. So here we have to write string. Remember, it should be capital. Okay, string dot prototype dot. Now we have to create our own method. Let's say in case of C, these are the already methods which are there. Correct? It is suggesting that. Now we have to create our own method. Let's say find char. Find char means find character is let's make a proper name. Find check if check character exist. Okay. So what we are trying to do in string prototype, we are creating our own method. Okay, is equal to function. Now this function is going to have a parameter. So let's say search char and a normal function. Right now in this, what we have to do now, just a simple scenario like this is the text. If I pass, let's say A, I need to write a code to check like in this text, we have a character A or not. Okay, let me just, does anyone know the method? How do we find? I need to find, you can unmute now. I need to find in this particular text, do we have a character or not?
Includes.
Yeah, include is there,
Yeah.
but don't use the include. Yeah, include is also there, but I don't want to use the include because then this won't make sense, na? Right? This won't make sense. Apart from include, how we can do that?
Yeah, we can write custom logic like
Yeah, so that's
by looping itself each and every.
correct. We can loop also. Okay.
Hmm.
Now to loop also, obviously for loop is there, so we need to pass the array. So first, what we are going to do, whatever the value we get. So whenever you are writing like this now, so whatever the value after the variable you get the dot, right? So that value you can access in this variable. Okay. So now here I'm creating constant string, or let's say char array. That will make more sense. Char array. So now in this variable, what we will do, whatever the value we will get, that we will convert it into the array of character. So this dot, in this you will get all the whatever the value you get, whatever the value you have in this variable. Now we have to split, and we have to split it by empty value. Okay. So this split will, what it will create? It will create an array of characters we have in this particular sentence. Then from that, what we will write, let's say, check if is exist, just a normal variable is exist. Okay. Now here what I will do, in this char array dot find index. Find index is a method which will check if the character is present. We will get the index, otherwise it will be -1. So here x is equal to x equal to what, with what we have to compare, whatever the search text parameter we will get. Okay. Now here we will return. We have to create a function like that. If the character is present, we will get true. Otherwise, we will get false. Okay. So we will return. Well, logic can be anything. Just a sample example we are taking. So if in this variable is equal to -1, means we don't got the variable. We don't in that array, we don't have the character. In this particular string, we don't have the character, whatever was passed. So we will get -1. So if it is -1, we will return false. Else we will return true. Okay. Now let's remove this and put it at the top just to hide. Okay. Now some text. Okay. I will print console.log some text dot, what was our method name? Check char exist. Okay. Let's say if it suggests. It won't suggest actually, because this is like our custom function. So it won't suggest when we press the dot, but you can access it. So this is the function. Okay. Now this function has a parameter. Which text you need to search? Let's say we are trying to search the X. Sorry, in string we need to pass it. Okay. So let's save. So here you can see we have got true because we have X in the sentence. Now, if we type, let's say we don't have M, right? So if we pass M, so here you can see we got false. So with this, we have created our own function which will work on all the variable you will create, which has the string value. Our own function we have passed to the prototype of that variable, which will work on all the type of string. So in interview, you will be getting question like this. Can we create either no one will expect like you will implement this. No one will expect. Okay. If you have more than 5 years experience, then they will expect. But if you have less than 5 years now, no one is expecting that you will be able to do this. But at least you should be aware, like, yes, this is possible. So most of the time question will be like, is it possible that can we create our own method or property which will work on any particular data type? So yes, it is possible. Just like string, here you can say array, number, whatever the data type we have seen, you can create like that. Okay. Again, if it is not understood, don't worry. This you are not going to face. But just to understand prototype, this is very, what we can say, important one. Because how, as I said like earlier, it's very hard to predict the definition of this. But if you know all these different types of three types of example, then you will have something clear idea. Like what is prototype? Then even though you don't explain the proper definition, if you explain like this, still the another person will have the idea. Like, no, you have the proper knowledge of prototype.
So,
Yeah.
question. So we can achieve the same thing with the normal function or with the help of widgets.
Using normal function with
Normal function or widgets. With the help of widgets, we also achieve the same thing. We can create a normal function where we can just split and use the find index or filter.
yeah, obviously
So
we can create the normal
exactly
function
what is the
also.
need of prototype? Actually, I faced the same question prototype in my one of interview.
See, you are with normal function, obviously, yeah, we can create a normal function. Whatever the logic we have created over here, let's move that to a normal function. Okay, let's say the name what we have given, check at least. Like this, right? And wherever we need this, we can call it like this. This is what you are saying?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously we can create, but in a more see, these are all the concept what you are saying now. It will happen in a modular application. Okay. So when we say module based application, there we have to write the proper code when we enable the strict mode. Correct. So again, like in normal Angular and JavaScript React application, we won't be able to find this of code because we don't write the modular code in case of JavaScript. There are some different projects which only works with everything is dynamic and only using JavaScript they write the code. Okay. It has so many advantage by just writing the whole project in the JavaScript. So there are actually scenarios which are not possible, but if your project is structured like that way, so modular way, so there it is a huge deal. So if someone is asking you, yeah, we can create a function like this and we can use, then what the advantage of it? So we create our own function in the prototype. If our project is structured like that, we have a modular way of programming, then only this thing will make sense. In a normal function, this won't make sense.
So normal function we can't assign right for method, right? Like for string method or array method, we can't assign that. So that is the core purpose of this prototype.
Normal method means, repeat it again.
See, you are created function check second one, right?
Yeah.
Now, but this method we can't assign to string, right?
This method obviously we cannot assign now.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it's not.
how it, yeah, that's
No,
something.
I did not understand then. Repeat
No,
once again properly.
like he asked it like we use normal function, right? If
Right.
we create a normal function, you are logging itself. This function is not assigning to this particular string, right?
Yeah,
You are
obviously
just
it's
there
not
is no
assigning.
purpose. That is the purpose of this prototype.
Yes. Okay. So see, when we have the modular programming like this utility, a separate JS will be there where we have utility function. So it will be loaded and the first on the application load, first these utility functions will be loading, right? So likewise, so many date utilities, something like in Angular we have default pipe, but in JavaScript, if we have to format the data, we have to write our custom code. So just like that, if you have a modular project structure, now you will have so many utility file. This kind of code you will find it so many times. Okay, one YouTuber is there from Germany. I had contact with him, so he has shown me his project. It was a React project with JavaScript only. So in utility function, there was so many methods overridden by this way. So it is getting used, but we have to work on a project like that.
What is
Normally,
utility function?
yes.
Utility function mean?
Sorry.
What is the mean of utility function?
Yeah. No, your
No.
voice is.
I'm asking you, what is the mean of utility function?
What is the
Meaning of utility function? Meaning, sir. Meaning of it.
meaning?
Yes.
This function meaning?
Utility function, right? You told.
Utility means it's just a word. Say utility as in whenever we create a project, we
Yeah.
have some functions which we are going to need or multiple time. Let's say you want to format a date, you want to create a unique string or something. So rather than creating that function over and over again, you put it in a normal JS and you call it as a utility. Utility as in we put our functions which are going to be used all over the project, just like that. It's just a normal word. It's not specific something. Okay. Yeah. So I hope like if you didn't understand this also now, but basic like what is prototype? So the first definition, like when you create any variable or what type of data you store into that variable, based on that, some methods and some object, some properties and some methods will be assigned to that variable. That is nothing but prototype. By checking the prototype of that, JavaScript will assign those functions. Okay. So even if you try to explain with coding, then interviewer will be happy. If you are preparing, you can refer another any website. I also didn't find a proper one. Okay, so try to create your own, and it will be better if you explain him with this kind of code. This is the very normal one. You can explain it. If you explain this, doesn't matter. Like sorry, whatever the definition you have said, but if you explain this with the code now, then he will understand that you know the concept. So there is very benefit when you are explaining if any interviewer is asking any theoretical part, now normally what we do, we explain the theory part only, but no, it's not expected. After explaining your theory part, where you have used that concept, how you have used that, what problem there was in your project, and that gets solved by using that particular concept. So this is what actual expectation when you are in the interview. And that depicts your skill. Okay. Focusing more on Angular. Na? See, Angular, we have, let's say, 15 to 16 topic are there. So many people are learning Angular. Why we have less number of opening in Angular? Because we have crowd is there. Because everyone, guys from PHP, again, that Magento and so many not, right? The technology which are not in a trending. So they are learning Angular because Angular is very easy to learn. Basic concept, right? So that's why we have huge crowd there. So that's why we have less opening. But in case of React, to understand React, you need JavaScript very strong. So that's why very less people are going to React. So that's why even though React has limited number of vacancies compared to Angular, but as developers are minimum, that's why those vacancies looks very high. Okay. So if you are an Angular developer, make sure JavaScript, you make it strong because interview is going to start with JavaScript. So you have to make a good impression while starting only. Okay. If it is a small company, no one will focus on the JavaScript. But if it is mid-scale, let's say above than 500 or 1,000 only, they will focus on JavaScript also because they will have multiple client with multiple project with multiple technology. So today you are going to hire with Angular. Tomorrow you will be working on React as well. Okay. So that's it today. Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can I speak in Hindi, sir?
to tell you something.
Sorry, you want me to repeat in Hindi?